Hello and welcome, my sensational mortal soul. Venus Callida here, and I've gotten cozy with some friends who've gathered today to tell you all about the Epiphany. Now, maybe just as a historical curiosity if it's not in your religion, but just to say that January 6th is the Epiphany, and I do like to recognize this day because it extends the Christmas holiday, and I want every reason to keep my Christmas tree up when I can. I've gathered three kings around me. The Torn Chieftain, I knew his father well too, and Mr. Um, Copper Pinch. And I've got D-Mac here without the sheep. Beep, beep. And I've got Hermione, a little muggle witch, to help out as well, because these three kings and this La Befana all have everything to do with those stories that added on to the special holiday of Christmas, Father Christmas, and all the other morphs that came out of all of that from commercialism. But before commercialism, there were the stories that came out of the Epiphany. And if we head back to the Vatican and ask them, well, what is it if we're celebrating Christmas Day, the birth of baby Jesus, on December 25th, why do we also have January the 6th, which some European nations also commemorate? And this is actually when the Magi, who'd been following the Star of Bethlehem, who were basically the astronomers from the ancient Muslim world, coming out to see this little Jewish-born baby. Isn't it interesting how the world religions have been combined into these holiday festivities? Interesting to me because we've got the Old Testament, which is the Talmud, the New Testament, which is where Jesus was born, and then there are the third documents, all looked at by people in the Muslim faith who have part 3, the extension, the Quran. And I know I don't want to get into religious things, but I just want to say 3 of the major religions of the world, looking at the ancient world of humans, all kind of combine around this. Because Jesus, he wasn't Christian, he was Jewish. I'm just saying, for all my friends that have met because their parents all fled to a country, and I know there's issues with the history and how people started coming into this country, but we're on the side of the world where we don't get bombed because we went to a funeral. Unfortunately, school is still a thing in the States. Being careful, please, people, put down your weapons. I don't want to get into all the history of it all. I feel very sad about all of that. Stop carrying arms. Stop giving out gun licenses. Anyways, neither here nor there. All of these different religions came together under the hope of a future of peace and the priests bringing King, Son of God, and prophets, leading to looking for this day, looking for a special person who would be born to bring the revolutions that will bring freedom and peace, prosperity, future eternal life for our souls, safeguarding our souls and access to a chance at heaven even if we're imperfect beings. What can we do? Let's honor and hope for a child that can set this future right for us. And all of these outcropping stories bring together these different persons from different backgrounds across the ancient world, lands in our histories, on the Epiphany. And what the Vatican said about January 6th, the Epiphany, it commemorates the visit of the Magi. So we know they've been following this Star of Bethlehem, this great star, the Star of David, and they finally got there after he was born. But if we looked at these as factual dates, December 25th to January 6th, so it took a week, or a little more than that, 2 weeks. I'm not doing the math. It took a couple of weeks, but they got there. They crossed that land without a train, without a Greyhound bus, without an Uber. They were on foot and with camels, and I don't even know how they got those across the Mediterranean, but somehow they made it. And on their way to finding him, they were stopping off, asking people, like the lady, the old hag that became La Befana, with her broom. Hermione's standing in for her. But that's part of my cultural traditions to know about La Befana. So I just want to acknowledge Magi crossed the world following a star to a place where a baby was born. And so Epiphany is considered the time where the Lord manifests himself, because Epiphany comes from a Greek corruptive of the word to manifest a God. So he made himself known to the pagan world, and through them the whole world. And in Eastern churches, this solemnity emphasizes the manifestation of the Trinity during the baptism of Jesus in the Jordan River by his cousin, John the Baptist. And whether you look at the Bible as historical fact or allegory or symbolism, we do believe these people existed, whether deities or blessed or prophets or not, depending on what religion you're coming from. I'm not trying to pick a side here, but just to say, a group of people crossed a lot of land looking for people, and as they stopped and asked people what they knew and invited them to come with them, some people wanted to finish other stuff first, not realizing the importance of it, but then thinking, maybe this is important enough. I got my housework done. Let's go. Let's follow them and figure this out. Let's go see this child. Hoping so much for new life, new world, forgiveness, the possibility of things getting better forever. And so many different lands of our ancient worlds were involved in this. People from different religious backgrounds and cultures and nations under censuses back in those days were involved in this. So in talking about the manifestation of the divinity to the world in Catholicism, so those of us who do the Christmas thing, and maybe the Epiphany too, like I do, because I love keeping my tree up, it's about the Holy See's information portal. The Epiphany, the prophecy of Isaiah is fulfilled, which the liturgy has chosen as the first reading. Arise and be clothed with light, for your light comes. Anyone named Lucia or Luciano, it's the light, it's the halo light. Your light comes. As if to say, don't close yourself off. Don't get down and be depressed. Don't remain a prisoner to your convictions. So if you're so hardcore about something that you can't budge, okay, be a little bit flexible. Don't get demoralized. React, look up, there's hope. Like the Magi, these important astronomers, these scientific men, these men of wealth and knowledge and education, came looking through the stars. The astronomers of the ancient world, listen, they got a lot of things right. They used that to learn how to be engineers. And they built things to last, man. Look at the pyramids and the temples and the ruins that still are enough there that we can have a clue. And you'll find the star of Jesus. And I just really like that. Hoping in this rebel, this humble person from humble origins, studying hard in his temple, studying hard in his face, looking at commercialism and thinking it's corrupt and hating it, doing something about it, trying to help people be fed and have hope and to keep going in their lives instead of giving in. And protect their souls. Have hope in the afterlife. Look for something bigger than yourself. It makes it easier to maybe do good and to welcome others and be kind. Be forgiving. These were all messages that I think are carried through so many religions and histories and the different rebellions and the pacifist rebellions and people that are advocating and marching for stuff throughout our history for betterment, for the most of us to survive better for longer. It's all there. Epiphany is part of that hope of the coming together. So, in some legends, there was the comet star that followed by the Magi to reach the hut where Jesus was born. And they brought him gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh. We leave cookies and milk for Father Christmas when he comes to visit us with blessings and benefits and gifts, Christmas Eve. But the figures of the Magi are actually only mentioned in the Gospel of Matthew, which has been modified several times over centuries and was oral history for at least 500 years. However, it doesn't specifically give their names, Melchior, Balthazar, and Gaspar, nor that there were 3 of them. all the details that Christian tradition later added in so that it's easier to like visualize and name and count and comprehend. The origin of the Magi, the Befana, and the rite of the stocking. So the oldest origins of the Magi, however, indicate that they were priests of the ancient Persian religion to whom later Greek traditions attributed talents like astrologers, soothsayers, and sorcerers, as explained by the Tricani, which are three. A narrative that is also repeated found its way into numerous artistic transpositions, notably Giotto's fresco in the Scrovegni Chapel in Padua. Conventionally, it is a holiday that represents a sort of apex to Christmas and New Year's Eve and closes the Christmas season, the 12th day of Christmas, which you know I love to celebrate. And in Italy, in fact, schools have always been closed on the 6th of January. So you're closed for the winter holiday or the Christmas holiday until after the Epiphany. And in other European nations, lessons begin earlier, and the Epiphany is not a public holiday, but it depends on, I guess, your religion and your culture and what nation you're in. As a widespread expression, the Epiphany takes all holidays away. So it's the closing of the 12th day of our Christmas season. Now, Befana. I know this from Italian heritage, and since I'm ancient Roman, the Befana derives precisely from the term Epiphany, which has been gradually distorted in popular culture as Befania, La Befania. The tradition evokes an elderly lady with a particularly ungainly appearance who on the night between the 5th and the 6th of January flies from house to house on a broomstick, bringing gifts and sweets to children, each contained in a stocking. Now, what I've heard about this growing up is that when the Magi were looking for baby Jesus in Bethlehem, they actually crossed the Mediterranean into Italy first, found their way to Bethlehem later, and it was part of the Roman Empire at the time. Look at the history. The census reports are what made Mary and Joseph have to travel away to sign themselves up in the census report. That's why they ended up in a manger, where she had to give birth instead of in their own home. Okay? And so this was like a Roman census was happening around that time. And they were answering that call to sign up under the census. So the census didn't go door to door to our houses. We had to go to them back in those days. And when the Magi were going through the Roman Empire looking for this baby, they met this old hag or witch. Call her a witch, but an old hag, and they asked her, hey, do you know where he is? She's like, no, I don't know anything about this. I've never heard about this. And they're like, hey, do you want to come with us? This is kind of important. It's like, look, I got housework to do, man. I got to sweep up and stuff, but if you want to wait, no, we can't wait. It's happening now. We know this kid's being born. This star's going to disappear. We're following this comet star thing, and we've got to find a baby. Okay, yeah, well, I'll catch up later. Bye. And they're like, okay, bye. And she finished her house, and she's like, you know what? Okay, I got a clean house. Okay, you know what? Maybe this seems important. I'll just, I'll go now. I'll go try to catch up with them. Except they were too far gone. So since she knew some baby that if they were not lying and they look like fancy people, educated people, maybe she doesn't want to miss this baby. She wants to give homage to, if God's child is out tonight, they're going to bring like forgiveness to this world. She wants to get in on that. So since she didn't know which baby it would be, and she didn't know which way the Magi went, but they were somewhere in Italy looking around, she was going to go house to house every Epiphany and bring candies and presents, little gifts, little foods to all the newborn baby children. So in case she missed them, she's going to hit all the households to try to cover her bets. Love Befana. So every year she came to our house. Every year she came to my dad's house. Every year she came to my grandparents' house when they were babies. And La Befana would bring these little presents, these little humble gifts. She's finally found the right house. She's going to cover every house, make sure every baby is welcome, fed, and joyful, with a joyful surprise on the Epiphany. I kind of maybe feel bad for her. Maybe she shouldn't have stalled, but hey, I don't know these men. I gotta clean my house. I'm not gonna leave with a dirty house. Go up. But she tried, so she's hedging her bets. And hey, we benefit from that. Because then later we got Father Christmas too. But that's where this kind of comes from, these stories, this background, and recognizing of the Epiphany, the 12th day of the Christmas holiday, tying off all our holidays and our new year and our new hope and our new life, and spring is coming. Winter's getting shorter, crops will come back, we're not going to starve to death, we can make it, have some hope, see the light's coming back from this time of year, days are getting a little bit longer now, so everything's fantastic. Okay, ties that bind the sacred and profane narratives. There's another legend that links the sacred and the profane. The Befana, according to some narratives, was met by the three wise men during the journey from east to Jerusalem. The three would have asked her for directions and invited her to follow them on their journey, but she refused to go with them. And then she felt sorry about it, and to make amends, she started looking for baby Jesus in every house, giving something to every child she came across. See, I didn't read that before I told you what I grew up with. All right. And this woman who comes at night with her shoes all broken, has its roots above, all in a popular tradition linked to the propitiatory rites of farmers who in the middle of winter hope for a good harvest in the year that had just begun. Today the holiday is celebrated in a variety of ways in Italy, with folk festivals, lighting of fires, and of course gifts offered to children. And often celebrations are organized in the streets. Among the famous are those in Piazza Navona in Rome. In most of Europe, on the other hand, Epiphany is mainly linked to a culinary ritual. Often it means the preparation of certain cakes and sweets, such as galette des rois in France, so cakes of the kings. There is a three wise men parade that goes through Madrid to mark the Three Kings Day, and this also happens on the Epiphany. And children in Spain unwrap gifts that elsewhere in the world are delivered by Santa Claus on Christmas Day. Here, Italy, Spain, we've got the Epiphany where children wait and open their gifts then. And that's pretty much the story of our three kings and our little witch bearing gifts to children everywhere on the Epiphany. And heck, I'm so glad I'm from a culture that I get all of it. I get St. Nicholas Day, I get La Befana, I get the three wise men, the Magi, coming in on the Epiphany. I get the 12 days of Christmas and Santa Claus and St. Nick and all that stuff. And well, if I'm naughty, I guess it's Dark Peter giving me the coal. But hey, I've given you a gift this year of candy, cookie dough, edible coal. And Tic Tacs have a black coal that tastes just like dark cherry juice. So, not so hurtful to be a little bit naughty sometimes. Just a little. Just a little bit. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this little story of where these ideas all come from. I'm not ready to take down my tree yet. It's Epiphany until midnight. I'm going to wait it one more day. And I've certainly enjoyed my 12 days of the Christmas festivities, bringing in the new year, the new light, the new hopes, the new goals, and just new blessings. Bless everybody. I'm not saying that in a religious way, but in a fun, festive, celebratory way. May you have hope. May you have good cheer. May you feel the resilience. Rally up, everybody. We've got another year to hit, and we're going to hit it hard, and we're going to level ourselves up again. Now, I'm going to raise my glass of water to you, wishing you clean water to drink, clean water to bathe in, clean water to rehydrate and have healthy skin. Take care of yourselves out there, and so you deserve it. So do I. Happy Epiphany, and I'll see you next time. Later tonight, I've got a Riddle Me Din Din that I'm excited to share. Bye for now. This is Venus Callida signing off. Happy Epiphany.